Hello, my beloveds. Today's conversation is an important one, and I'll begin it with a favorite poem, The Hoppy Elder Prophecy. We have been telling the people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour. And there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Know your garden, and it's time to speak your truth. Create your community. Be good to each other. And do not look outside yourself for the leader. This could be a good time. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be very afraid. They'll hold on to the shore. They will feel as though they are being torn apart, and they will suffer greatly. Know the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore and push off into the river. Keep our eyes open and our heads above water. See who is there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey comes to a halt. The time of the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that you do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones we have been waiting for. In yogic philosophy, in spiritual texts, in poetry, there's often a conversation about the inner saboteur, that part of us that ruins all great things. But for today's discussion, we'll call it the predator. It is an archetypal force within each of us. And the predator shows up when change comes knocking. When change comes knocking, you know the mystery has said, playtime. Mystery knocks to wake up the soul. Now, the soul doesn't care if it looks good or bad. The soul only wants you to be awake. So change will knock and often come in the form of an accident, grief, illness, a breakdown of a relationship, great loss. And it's the moment where one decides to either fight for their life or roll over and hit the snooze button. The predator is the part of you that wants you to play small, wants you to keep quiet, wants you to shrink and mold to whatever the world has defined as good and likable. The predator, much like a predator in the wild, knows your weaknesses. They'll stalk your weaknesses. For instance, if you love people to like you, the predator will remind you, you leave that relationship, people won't like you. You quit that job, you lost a network of people. The predator, you know it's near because you have a feeling to isolate, to pull back, to refrain from your connections with your friends and family. The predator starts to ask you to be silent. It severs your ties, and it's a time of incubation. Many folks would stay here, live here, and shut down. When this happens, it's a moment to take whatever you have deemed as shameful, embarrassing, awkward, and call it forward. It's welcome here. It's about making what is shameful sacred. It's a part of you. They say that 90% of convicts get convicted because they tell one person. Now, I'm not saying you should commit a crime and tell one person. However, the power of confession is so powerful. What confession does is it brings it to the light and makes you realize that it is not worth shutting down over. The knock of the mystery is saying, wake up. Are you engaged? Are you alive? Where are you? There is a beautiful quote by David White, and he says, anything or anyone that does not call you fully alive is too small for you. So whether you're sitting back and there is a big something stirring below the surface, a job change, an identity crisis, a relationship that doesn't work, if you're hearing the call, heed the call. What the predator does not like is community. Community is folks coming together to both celebrate one another and support one another. When I am a child, I act like a child. I believe the world is against me. Why me? How could they? When I start to mature into a state of adulthood, I process what happened for me as a child, but it could be right now, and I digest it. I process it. So when I see other people going through a divorce, I can put my hand on their shoulder and say, I see you, I've been there. You got this. What do you need? Right now, we are being asked to step up in our communities and be the light for those that are going through some stuff that's heavy. The predator is the voice in your head that says, remember what happened last time? That was embarrassing. If it happened like that, it'll probably happen like that again. The predator says, you're not qualified. You're not smart enough. Someone else could do it better. Whether you're sitting with a difficult conversation or something that is big that you want to go out into the world and try, now is the time. Lean into the people nearest to you. Use your life as an expression of what you want to see in the world. I often joke, instead of hanging "Be the Change" Gandhi on our walls, why not be the change in our communities? What is it that you want to see? What is it that you want to create? There is a moment when enough is enough, and it's gone on too long, we've tolerated for too long, and now we must speak up. There's two choices in that moment. The choice is to stay small, to stay safe, which is an illusion, or we break the confines and have the difficult conversation or speak up. The predator will stay dormant if you stay dormant. But if you feel the desire to get after it, the predator will be present. How do we meet the predator? We call everything as sacred. We lean into our communities. In that poem, that line, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Some will not like the change. Some will not like the new you. They'll hold on to the edges of the riverbank and fight for you to stay as you were, as they liked you. And now, the ones that are there at the end to celebrate, those are your teammates. So again, life is ever changing. Things are oscillating, people are changing, and your job, your only job, is to wake up, to be alive, to be engaged. And sometimes it shows up as something so horrific. There are two things in operation always that drive the world. And those two things are desire, my wishes. I have a desire to feel awake in the morning. I get coffee. I have a desire to be seen, so I go out into the world. So my desires drive my action. And the second thing that drives the force of the universe is energy. And every single day, every action I take, I am putting my energy and I'm voting with it. If I choose to binge drink or watch Netflix, there, I've voted. If I choose to write content that opens minds, then there's my vote. But energy is your currency. And we often get mistaken that our currency is our beauty, is our power, is our likability. But our currency is our energy. And how do you want to direct it? Our desires could be lesser desires, addictions, avoiding things we don't like. But the heart of our life is to figure out what our greatest wish is. For me personally, my greatest wish is to be awake, is to find joy and play in the world even when it's dark and sad. So my great wish of bringing joy and light to the world, if I'm driven by my lesser desires to drink and stay up late, my head is not clear. And I can't do what I'm put on this earth to do. What is your great wish right now? What knock on the door do you hear, and do you want to answer it? It might be challenging, but I guarantee your crew of cheerleaders and tribe members will be there for you. You got this. The world needs it. It's not about money. It's not about fame. It is literally about being alive and engaged in our lives and our relationships. Thank you so much for your listening ear. As always, I can be found on Instagram or Facebook. You can always drop me a line if you have some content you'd like me to cover. Thank you so much, and stalk the predator. The right fight extends the circumference of your life. It doesn't make you thinner or more beautiful. I love you.